And we were talking about this with Adele. It's like when you become old, you realize that your dreams might not come true.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How scary is that?
Absolutely terrifying. I was thinking about that before going to bed last night at 10:30. It's like, what the fuck am I gonna do when I'm 40? What the fuck am I gonna do?
Babe, you want to know what to do when you're 40? Crypto.
Oh my god. I'm like, it sometimes feels like the window is getting shorter and shorter. I'm like,
Yeah. But you know what's fucked up
can
is
I
that
make it now, please?
you know what's fucked up is that like in like the true sense of it, the window is not getting shorter because when you live life and you keep doing what you love, you become better at it. You know? So like in realistic terms, your window is actually getting bigger because you're becoming better at doing it. You're becoming
process is getting better.
and you're becoming better at like because the releasing the music, making the music, being creative, being
better
healthy.
at being yourself.
Yeah,
being better at being you, understanding yourself.
And
better.
it's crazy that like we have like this, like let's say you have a job, you get hired at like 25 years old, and then you say, I'm gonna keep this job for 25 years, and you're like, when I'm gonna be in 25 years after keeping this job, I'm gonna get a raise, I'm gonna be the best at the business, and I'm gonna be the richest. But self-employed people or like artists or people that work on their own schedule, they don't have that mentality. They don't tell themselves like. Or like for the most part, especially in the music world, it's like if I don't make it by 30, I'm fucked. Where it's like where you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make not that it doesn't make sense, but it's counterintuitive.
I feel like you always have to hammer at your passion, whatever it is. Like even if it becomes part-time instead of full-time, and your full-time becomes your moneymaker, whatever, you always have to hammer at it. Because I'm reading this book, it's called Crush It, and it talks about all these stories about like people who
crushed it.
Pretty much. So there's a story of a man. He's a lawyer and he's a bit chubby wubby, but he has a family. He has a beautiful family. He has 4 kids. He's getting fat, and he suddenly has some sort of setback in his health, or like he feels uneasy, or like he feels horrible, and he realizes just because he's been eating junk food and eating like a pig his whole life. And
catching up.
Yeah. So he like snaps out of it, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna start a vegetarian diet, and I'm gonna start like running. Anyways, so he does his first running competition. I don't forget what it's called, but it's like there's like the Spartan race in Montreal.
Oh yeah, it's like an Ironman or
like
whatever.
An Ironman. Yeah.
He does one of those, and he becomes like the first. I forgot if it was vegetarian.
First chubby wubby.
First fatty.
First chubby wubby to transition into skinny wubba wubba, and then become like the first vegan or vegetarian or whatever to like win a race.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah, and then he has this influx of like people like
reaching
vegetarian
out
and veganism.
Yeah.
Being like, oh my god, how did you do it? What did you eat? Oh my god, you're so special. And then
and he's like, it's not about what you eat, it's about what you don't eat.
Yeah. So he has this like high 6-figure lawyer job. He decides to ditch it at 39. Imagine you're 39, you have 4 kids, a wifey who probably married you because you're fucking guaranteed a fucking paycheck. So all this to say, at 39, he decides to switch up. He becomes this like vegan runner. And then he's like, how am I going to pay the bills?
With all the money that he's saved doing all these years.
Yeah,
no?
he has a certain leeway of like being able to pursue your passion. But he was running out. He was running out, and then he had to sell his house, his big ass crib. He had to sell it. He had to relocate with all of his family to like a little cabin. I don't know what in Hawaii.
The Hamptons.
No, it was in Hawaii or something. And then he kept pursuing his whole like Spartan race. So he kept doing those, and while he was doing those, he started doing YouTube videos or whatever. He started doing YouTube videos, and he started writing like ebooks. Anyways, he had to starve, and his whole family had to starve with him. And he was lucky enough to have a wifey to be like, no, like keep pursuing your passion or your purpose. She didn't give up on him, which is crazy. I find like it would be so like, it's so romantic to have a wifey that believes in you that much that she's willing to starve herself and her family for your purpose or your passion. Anyways, he ended up making it, blowing up. He went on CNN. He like sold his ebook and like became this vegan runner guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can live 2 lives in one.
You can live 2 lives in one, but all this to say that this guy blew up at 39.
Yeah, exactly.
which gives us 8 years.
And the guy.
No, kidding. But yeah, that's the whole point.
But it's true that there is like ways to reinvent yourself. I'm not sure what is worse, having a family, like when you have this job, you have a lot of money. What's worse? With all this money, buying a big house, starting a big family, and then dropping everything with the little savings, or never having a big job, or never having a big job, never having a big house, never having a big family, and just a girlfriend or a wife, but you guys starve from the beginning, you know? Because I feel like there's also like, you know, for example, Claire and I, like we were kind of like started from nothing really, like, and just like threw ourselves in this business with like just hopes and dreams, you know? But it's like starting from nothing and then building it up. But there is something to be said about having this job where you climb society so fast, right? Like by society standards, like you have a lot of money and you get a big house and then saying bye to all that. Letting all that go to become a fucking starving artist with a family?
Yeah.
That's fucked.
It's a lot to
It's
put
a
on the
fucked.
line.
So much stress. Like your kids, bro.
Yeah, your kids are tripping
Like
too.
what the fuck are
Your
they gonna
wifey's
eat?
tripping. Like she looks at you for like security and safety and whatnot, and then you're like
that
okay.
wife in particular, because
Maybe.
like maybe she doesn't have a job, or maybe she doesn't, or I don't know what the story is, but or even if like you guys are two parents with two jobs and you guys are relying on each of your salaries to pay for the house, and one of them fucking jumps ship and is like, I want to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah. No, but all this to say, I feel like there's so much judgment that kind of
Occurs.
no, but like impedes us to take any action. Like as a self-employed person, I pride myself on the idea of being self-employed so much that I was afraid of the repercussions of getting a 9 to 5 and like how my image is ruined. But I realized like nobody really gives a shit. Like nobody cares what I do. What I do. Like nobody. You know?
Yeah, it's
but
your time.
Yeah, it's in your head. In your head. You're like, if you see yourself as an artist, you're like, what happens if I just get a 9 to 5 and I'm like, fuck it. You know? But in your head, like, but I'm an artist. My whole Instagram is about being an artist.
Yeah, right.
So you like, it's hard for you to make that transition. But all this to say is that the message I wanted to get across is that like, don't judge people off of jumping boats, because you'll see 9 to 5 people that are so terrified of making the jump to being like an artist or a self-employed person. And they're so afraid because they have a car, they have a public image, they have maybe a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And they're like, yo, I can't make the jump into being an artist.
Yeah.
I have this good job, but the judgment it weighs so heavy in their head that they don't want to do it.
Especially when you reach that age where you're like, have I really just given 20 years of my life to this company? Imagine.
Yeah, but
and you're like, and also the same thing goes for artists, like that the artists that do pop off and that do like make it, and they're like, this is not what I want to do anymore.